FightHype.com. I'm here joined with the WBO welterweight champion of the world in two division, going for her third, Mikaela Mayer, who takes on Mary Spencer October 30th in Montreal Casino in Quebec, Canada. First and foremost, how excited are you to be back and entering a new division?
I'm excited. I wish I would have fought a little bit sooner. I wanted three fights this year, but things happen. I'm used to it. I know nowadays things don't always go according to plan, so that's fine. Ideally wanted the fight with Lauren Price, couldn't make it happen, so this was the next best option. I didn't want a filler fight. I'm glad I get to add to my resume by conquering another division and fighting a champion. I didn't want to go backwards. I'm kind of on a roll now. I want to keep the big fights going. I didn't want anything easy, and that's just obviously always the way I've been. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
I think you spoke a little bit and done some interviews on kind of the Lauren Price and your fight not kind of materializing based off certain circumstances, right? Of how all the changes in boxing, right? Um, with that said, going to Mary Spencer, was that the option that you wanted before Cecilia Brækhus did her retirement and essentially,
Well, it was a fight that was available.
Mhm.
So no girls at 140 were available because MVP has them all, and they weren't willing to work with me while I'm signed with Top Rank. They want me to be signed with them. So I looked at 154 because again, I wanted a big fight and I wanted a champion, and there's girls available, but Cozen was fighting Breakus.
Mhm.
So they were already matched up for that fight. There's O'Shea Jones, who's my really good friend, who I would hate to fight, but I will one day if we have to, and hopefully it'll be on a big stage and both get paid well and it'll be great. But Top Rank really liked Mary Spencer. She was available and they had this fight date available and she was willing. And so we made that fight pretty quickly after we realized we weren't going to get the fight with Lauren Price.
you know, with Mary Spencer, right? Because I feel like because she doesn't have this super marketable name that is being pushed heavy in the media, her amateur pedigree is top tier. I mean, she's beat girls like Natasha Jonas, which many people thought that you won in the pros. She even fought your good friend Clarissa Shields, and so on. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about Mary Spencer as an opponent for some of the people who are familiar with the champion you're facing.
Yeah, so she turned pro later, right? I think she took a little bit of a break after her amateur career, but I remember her name from back in the day because when Clarissa came on the scene at just 17, she beat her at the Continentals in Canada, and I was there. And it was a big deal because Mary Spencer was like the it girl at the time in the amateurs. She had a big name. So for Clarissa to come out of nowhere being so young and beating her, it was a big deal. Never in my life I thought I'd be going up against Mary Spencer. I was a 130 pounder, 132 pounder in the amateurs. She was at 165. And now here we are meeting, I don't know how many years later, 15 years later at
Mhm.
154. So she was never really a girl on my radar. But because I know her, I thought it would be a good challenge. Maybe not everyone knows her, but I know she has the amateur pedigree. And she has the name for the people who really know women's boxing and have been around for a while. So that was a that was good enough for me. I was like, yeah, at least I'm going to be challenging myself against someone with that type of pedigree and that experience while I wait for the Lauren Price fight.
Last time I saw you was in Norfolk, and I was editing the video with me and Terrence was playing Street Fighter and Tekken. You jumped in, you're like childish and kind of like was mocking us a little bit, but he was moving up, to jump and face Canelo, and so at this point, you're jumping up for your third division. I mean, you're starting to Hall of Fame kind of status because not a lot of women, especially now, do that. There's only like Clarissa, Katie, Amanda. I mean, by beating Mary, you would be, joined with that class. So not just opportunities that's available, but do you feel like this would solidify you as like a true Hall of Famer with a win like this?
Yeah, I already feel like I have, and I
Mhm.
think that I feel like I already have solidified myself as a Hall of Famer, not in the way that I expected to. I had an idea for my career. It took a little bit of a turn. I had to navigate back into position. It took a while. Wasn't easy. Wasn't easily physically. It wasn't easy mentally. But now I'm back in position. So ideally, I want to finish my career with fights like this. So fighting Mary Spencer, taking her belt, becoming a third division world champion, going back down to 147, beating Lauren Price for undisputed there, and then maybe going back up to 54 and finishing the job and going undisputed there, whoever is the champ. And then potentially going down to 140 and challenging for undisputed there, because I know all those fights are sort of possible right now. It just sort of depends, but they're all options. And I think that I have the body type and the experience to do either one. I can do it. I'm sitting around 150, so going 54 is fine, and going down to 140 is possible too. Um, and yeah, and then even, we've talked about the fight with Clarissa. If she's willing to come down to 154, I don't know what her plans are or how long that would take her, but I think that after this, I put myself in position to sort of finish my career the way I've always dreamt of doing that. And it could very possibly be, you know, three division undisputed if all the stars align. You don't know, but the options are there.
At this point in your career, I mean, is that kind of where it is, getting marquee names and for
Oh,
the big
yeah.
money fights?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I didn't want it. I could have just fought someone at 147 who maybe didn't have, you know, the skill or experience or the name that I have, but I didn't want that. I'm not inspired by that at this stage in my career. I'm trying to make up for the 2 years that I had to climb my way back to the top. And I still have a lot of girls on my hit list that I want to get through before I hang it up. So this is the time to do it. And that starts with Mary Spencer.
With Top Rank kind of going through the transition, they've been, in my personal opinion, doing a great job because we just saw Guido Villanello just fought on a matchroom card, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like raised the stock and also had a great performance, and what would be kind of the B side, how it was being promoted. You're seeing even signing guys like Scooter Davis, who's being active, and they're kind of making sure that he's going. So like this process, I mean, some promotional companies may not be able to do stuff. Like how grateful and what's this process with Top Rank being able to make sure you're still able to do your thing?
Yeah, no, Top Rank has been great. I wanted to fight 3 times this year. It wasn't possible. I get it. I've always been easy to work with. Me and my team, we have a great relationship with Top Rank. They did their best to try and get me those 3 fights, but sometimes you just can't control it. The logistics weren't there when it came to the networks. Me and Lauren Price wouldn't have gotten the money that we deserve if we were to try and push for that fight. And so this is the next best option. And the way they're sending me over to Canada, another promotion to get this fight done, is the same thing they're doing with a lot of their athletes, a lot of their fighters, just to keep them busy. They're doing what have to do until they can get the network and get themselves back in position. So definitely grateful for that. I've never had a problem with Top Rank. That we've always worked really well together. They've always done their best to get me the best fights possible. So they're continuing to do that. And then once they lock in the network, which I believe they will, then things will start rolling again. But definitely grateful to stay busy.
Just last couple questions. It's just kind of like I guess maybe an anomaly. Like Chris Cyborg would be in 154. I know right now she doesn't have a belt. Maybe things, but is that a fight because of the name? Kind of going back to big money fights and legacy. But does Cyborg fit that picture in a way?
Yeah, I mean it's a possibility too. I think that I'm in position now to kind of have that option, whether it's fighting any girl at 154. Obviously, Chris Cyborg has a big name. I want to fight girls with big names. But right now, I want to go for the undisputed belt. She doesn't really have a belt right now. I think that'll be a big fight. Maybe once I collect them and I can kind of bring her in for a massive fight. I know she brings the MMA fan base as well.
Mhm.
So I mean, I was even we even threw my name at MVP for Holly Holm. I think that would have been a great fight as well. So I'm not opposed to any of that, really. I just
Mhm.
don't know how things are going to pan out. I know I got to get this finish what I started with Lauren Price at 147. And then once I do that, all the possibilities kind of open up, all the options open up.
Two rivals. One I feel like it's just maybe just boxing coincidence, but right before doing an interview with you, Alicia Baumgardner kind of put a post kind of saying I'll be celebrating this week. I would say it's timing, right? But this was the week that you guys obviously fought. I know a lot of people praise you because you did the rematch with Sandy, and you didn't get the rematches with that. But someone did ask her, need to see the rematch, and she said right, kind of co-signing, saying yes. So by you moving up and things working, like how would that essentially work out by all means if
Listen, Alicia Baumgardner rematch is an option too. And we offered her the fight before the second Sandy rematch. Um, she turned it down, for whatever reasons. She was signing with MVP at that point. Shush. And we went to MVP. We asked. We said, my team said Mikaela's available for the Baumgardner rematch. She's available for someone like Chantel Cameron. She's available for someone like Holly Holm. And that was sort of shut down because I'm not signed with them. So we'll see how that works. That's going to be tricky. They're collecting all the girls, and they have a lot of the girls that I think I would match up well with. So, I'll let my team figure that out in the long run. But I know that's a rematch that all the fans want to see. So, I think it should happen eventually. But if she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it. We'll see.
And with Sandy Ryan, I know she kind of grew like a new fan base. I know she's doing like a lot of the like push-up videos and stuff like that.
Check
But
the fans, yeah.
have you guys been able to, I guess, amend anything, or is it just no, just at that point? Because some people after a fight, it's done.
Not
But
me. No, if we have beef going into the fight just because we fought each other, we're not really
Mhm.
knuckles, but we're not buddy buddy. I've never been that way. I'm not fake like that.
Mhm.
No, I'll never be friends with Sandy Ryan. I don't like the type of person she is, and that build up and that rivalry was real for a reason. And so that's it. I did what I had to do. I was honorable. I gave her a rematch. I gave her a second chance, and I wish her the best in her career. I still think she's a great fighter. I think she can beat a lot of girls at 147. She can't beat me, but she can still make a lot of great fights with other people. So we'll see what she does. I know she's mandatory or she just got the mandatory slot for the titles at 140 or the WBC title at 140. Not sure how. She's not ranked at 140. There's plenty of girls in line for that. So I'm not sure how she skipped the line, but um, yeah, I don't wish bad upon anybody in their career. I know it's a tough sport, but yeah, we're not friends.
So, just two quick prediction videos before fights before I let you go. I know you sparred Shakur, and I'm sure you've seen Teo train at DLX, so um, you don't have to give, I guess, maybe a prediction on who wins because I'm sure there's relations on both sides. But what do you think about that fight? I mean, it's a fight that fight fans have always wanted.
Yeah, no, I love that fight. I think him, Tio and Shakur, and you got Tank and you got Ryan Garcia, and these are all names that everyone has sort of wanted to see fight. And I don't think we're going to get most of those fights, but I am happy that we're going to get at least one of them, which is Teofimo versus Shakur Stevenson. Both great fighters. I I know Shakur a little bit more personally, and never betted against him. I think he's one of those fighters that people like Terrence Crawford, right? When Terrence Crawford went against Canelo, people didn't realize like, oh, he's not that good, he doesn't have that all that experience. I don't see how he's so great. I heard a lot of people say that, and I'm like, no, some of the best fighters make it look easy. They don't look great until they need to, but he's very diverse. He has a lot of different skills, a lot of different tools, hard to train for. And same with Shakur. That one thing he does really well is that spacing. He's a genius when it comes to that space. People may have some things to say about him about, oh, he's moving and doing all this stuff, whatever. He's a very skilled boxer and he's very hard to beat. And I still just can't bet against him, even against someone like Tio. Not it's a good fight because there's always a chance. Tio's a puncher, and there's always a chance that he can get that fight and get that win. Either way, I think it'll be super competitive, but I think I have Shakur winning on decision by his boxing skills.
Awesome. My last one. I know you're the captain, right? It's essentially you're the captain over Cormel, right? You have the experience. You're guiding him right throughout this boxing world. So I mean, he's been throwing a lot of shots out there, rightfully so, because it's boxing entertainment buildup. But there's Zaquin Moses, Shakur's cousin, that beat him in the amateurs. Scooter Davis, who just signed a top rank. I mean, it's kind of like that new era is starting to materialize around, and he's someone
Yeah.
that you've I think share the ring or maybe punch around. And
We've sparred. We're together in the gym every day. We go at it. He's a good kid. We have a lot of fun in the gym together. He's funny. Um, I'm concerned, and I think he's a future world champion for sure. And I think that he's going to beat a lot of these guys. I mean, he's extremely explosive and strong and quick, and I hate sparring him. Okay, but it comes down to the promotional problem or the
Mhm.
promoters, right? And them working together to get these fights done. And sometimes that becomes the most difficult part. So I don't know. I hope that, and I know Carmel's with Mayweather Promotions, so I hope they keep him busy and get him the fights that he needs to show his skills.
Do you think he's above? I mean, I know this is just you're sporting your stable mate, but kind of like the Shakur thing. Like, do you see something about him that's above the other guys that he's calling out?
Well, the thing I think the thing about Carmel is like you don't see like, oh, he's not that good. Oh, he's not, he's not one of those like secretly good fighters. Like he's gonna go in there and he's gonna try and knock your head off. So, more like a Tank Davis, right? But like he's gonna be really hard to beat. He's gonna be hard to beat. And he's so young. He's so young, but he's so strong and he's so fast. And so he's got a lot of time to grow and develop. And I think he's ahead of the game already. And yeah, he's a special talent. So he's going to give anyone a tough time.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate the time, Michaela. You're always professional, always fun chatting with you. Wish you nothing but the best, October 30th at Montreal Casino, Quebec, Canada. I know that they're gonna announce an American broadcast or where you can watch it soon, so we'll be up to date. And
Yeah.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, hopefully they do. I'm not really even sure where Americans can watch it. I know there's a website, but hopefully someone picks it up. I know it'll be a really exciting fight. I don't want the world to miss it. So I don't want to fly under the radar, but we'll see.
And for the fight fans that's watching this interview, before I let you go, any last message you want to tell them when you're attempting to become a three-division world champion, going against Mary Spencer, a heavy-handed puncher who can throw bombs in the left and right? What do you want to tell the fight fans out there?
Um, can't tell you exactly how to watch it just yet, but it's gonna be a great fight. Don't miss it. If you know my style, you know the fights I've had in the past. It's never a boring fight. I come forward, Mary Spencer comes forward. I'm feeling better and stronger than ever, and it should be a fight of the year contender for sure. So tune in, and only big fights after that. Undisputed with Lauren Price next.
So I know I said last, but she did say she was going to knock you out
Yeah, she
because of
did.
the Hamadouche fight. Is that a mistake?
Listen, the Hamadouche fight was how long ago? I was lightweight. Um, and she could never hang in the ring with Hamadouche. Okay, not a lot of girls could have. If a lot of these girls, if they had to go up in that ring against Hamadouche, because I know she retired because of her detached retina, but a lot of these fighters would have been pummeled by Hamadouche. She doesn't stop coming forward. And although I got hit a lot in that fight, I took it and I got better and better as the rounds went on. So she can look at how many times I got hit, or she can look at my conditioning and how I press forward and finish that fight strong after 10 rounds. So hopefully she's working to keep up with me in that pace.
I appreciate it, champ.